Hi guys, this is the Liteforex Global YouTube channel, 22nd of October 2020. Good afternoon from Europe. Good morning, good evening, whatever you are out here. So, few seconds ahead of the US cash open, we are going to check first 5-minute trading range, and then we will go through few other things. Well, Pelosi is changing her mind faster than, well, anything else in the world. Well, it was yesterday almost no chance ahead of the election. Now the pen is very close to sign the deal ahead of the election. So it's a game of the chicken. Similar story is when it comes to the Brexit, okay? And we got better than what market was expecting. Unemployment, weekly jobless claims, unemployment claims, 787,000 versus 100k more that was market was expecting. So we have accumulation of the Pelosi and the weekly jobless claims here, and the Nasdaq is trying to go higher right here at the open. We are going to monitor first 5-minute trading range. We are going to discuss what has happened yesterday, as well as we are going to discuss few currency crosses. So let's have a look what we have here. There we go. Okay, now it's quite important to see what happened yesterday, right? It was like not only 1-to-1 to the orange line, but it was also 2-to-1 with the rejection. Few questions about how to enter. I'm not sure if you see the orange. Let's change it to the yellow. Also not that good. Now it's gonna be better. Yeah. So the thing is, it was over under possible trade. So it was like question of retest somewhere here to play with. This time, each time it was quite okay, quite positive, targeting the daily open at least, right? Now we didn't get yesterday towards the higher levels because we were discussing them maybe somehow, right? We got just double doji right now. I know I'm gonna be you know, not everyone likes this, call it doji, but I'm looking for a breakout and I'm looking for a failure, right? So the first attempt to break either to the upside or to the downside, I'm going to look for the failure, and if it's upside, it's weekly open, right? And the green zone we discussed yesterday. If break to the downside, around 11,500, right? And the reverse. That's how I see the things when it comes to the Nasdaq. So that's what we are going to watch and monitor. And after the 5-minute trading range is created, we are going to make the measure. If there is anything, we can make it out of that, right? So that's how it looks for now when it comes to the Nasdaq. What is important, guys? It's let's start with the few currency crosses, and what is important is I'm going to discuss with you Australian dollar. Why it's so important, in my opinion? Because let's clear a few things here we have, and let's focus on the latest moves, and especially the initial move to the downside, bounce, retest, right? Now we got the bounce of 61.8 plus minus, all right, maybe a little bit higher, and I do expect of this latest move 61.8 around. That's gonna provide us to the bottom of that breakout candle. So levels close to 71.70 is where I'm looking to fade the rally, all right? The next scale is going to be around 72.10, 72.20. All right, with the final move, so from here or eventually from here, for the final move and break lower, and in my opinion retest of 66. But of course 0.7 psychological level, it's gonna be the first rational target. But that's how I see Australian dollar. When it comes to the buyers, of course, levels close to 70 as a buying opportunity if you are Australian dollar bull. But my final target, that's what I mentioned a second ago, is gonna be based on this weekly chart, and we are talking about the levels close to 60, 66, 66.50. That's how I see the things, the bottom of that breakout candle, and that's how I see the things after this move to the downside on their own weight. And if you are going to check the huge distance of the first move, so if we are going to break 70, this, if we are going to add here, that's gonna be our target. Very easy measure. So be careful if you are looking to buy Australian dollar around 70, because if we are going to get the break, especially towards the end of the day, week, sometimes, maybe not this week, but next week, closer to the election, that could be the case. We do have a choppy market because of the election, because of the end of the month, because of the upcoming US election. But today, later today, we do have New Zealand CPI, and as we can see, New Zealand dollar is much stronger lately, but approaching quite nice levels or zones. Okay, in that case, I'm talking about the zone over here, been tested once. We are talking about levels close to 106.50, 106. Okay, if we are going to go through 106, 105.80, then we might reopen levels close to the low around 105. Okay, how I see the things to play out here? Well, that's gonna be quite interesting. It's gonna be worth to watch today, especially taking into the consideration latest RBNZ or dovish tone, dovish sentiment. So I do expect this 0625, 06, maybe 580, some spike to the downside to hold. All right, and this type of the consolidation, a retest of the top of that channel, and then eventually after some kind of the consolidation going higher. So I'm going to look for a possibility to buy the dip when it comes to the Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar. But if you are a seller, then probably the levels close to 107.80, 108. Right, that's your possible supply. If you see the bounce, that's also gonna be top of that channel, right? So we have horizontal, we have top of the channel, plenty of things to discuss the possible short. And again, somewhere close to 625, 0580 as a possible long entry when it comes to Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar. The next one is Kiwi dollar here. Well, if we are going to look closely, it's almost the topish formation, right? So probably all of you guys see what we have here. So today's inflation data is gonna be very interesting, right? I'm going to watch very carefully. What I'm gonna to look for? I'm going to look for stop count to the upside. Okay, I'm going to look for some kind of the attempt to upside break, but this whole zone over here is my some kind of the supply. So either I might try to trade on a smaller time frame this type of the attempt, so 50% of that range, somewhere close to 67.20, right? So if we are going to see levels above 67, that's where I'm going to try to trade the short side when it comes to when it comes to Kiwi dollar, I think soon we might see this type of the combination. Of course, the buyers might try to invite the sellers for this possible something looks like head and shoulder and break to the upside. If I'm going to see something like this around this possible neckline, I'm going to and being short, I'm going to evacuate myself from the short position. Now, finally, euro dollar quickly. Some kind of the head and shoulder being drawn here from the intraday perspective. All right, we hit the possible target already, so be careful trying to chase that. Right, target being hit. All right, I still think we might see lower levels. I'm not the fan of buying here because overall here I still think that it's something bigger, 1860 to the upside, 17 to the downside. So from here it could be retest of the weekly open. I'm not saying we are going to see this week, but somewhere closer to the next week. Stop hunt yesterday, sell off, like something like this, right? So if you are a buyer, there are on the intraday perspective there are a few levels. You might want to try this nice over under around 1765, but for some kind of the bounce only. I would be very careful. I do prefer to see this zone as a buying opportunity. And from the seller's perspective, well, if we are going to see some retest of the yesterday high, that might be the case to try to join the party from the conservative perspective. Aggressively, right? I like this line, this over under, and after the stop hit. So that's what we've been discussing second ago, right? This over under. So there is a possibility market at some point will try to hit today's high and then rejection from levels close to 1870 if seen retested. Now cable, so 1860, 17 as a range on euro dollar. Cable, we've seen break to the upside yesterday, but what is important, what's been hit? I've been caught short, but what we hit the top of this Niagara fall to the downside. We hit the bottom of this breakout day, right? And we see the rejection. So for now, in my opinion, of course, it's all about this next comments related to the Brexit. But for now, because of the breakout, 3080, 3050 as a demand and supply closer to 3175, 32, I'm not gonna be surprised to see some bouncing between those lines. If we are going to see daily close below 3080, 3050, 3050 would be the best. We are opening 130 and we might lose the bullish momentum and we might get back to try lower levels. So for now, I do expect this range, so something similar, rangy as on euro dollar. With that being said, guys, be careful. This choppy market may persist till the end of the month, till the US election. Next update is coming. Have a good one. See you around. Take care. Goodbye.